Commander Sienna Nash stood at the helm of the stellar horizon, her eyes fixed on the derelict vessel that hung motionless against the backdrop of distant stars. The alien ship's crystalline structure caught the light of a nearby nebula, casting prismatic shadows across her bridge. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she thought she'd seen everything, but this was different. "Analysis complete, Commander," announced Dr. Reese Harrison, his dark fingers dancing across the holographic display. "The vessel's been powered down for at least a century, but there's still an active energy signature at its core." Sienna brushed a strand of graying hair from her face, studying the readouts. "Life signs. One barely registering. Whatever's in there has been in stasis for a long time." The bridge fell silent. First contact protocols were clear: observe and report. But something about this felt wrong. The ship's architecture was too elegant for a prison, yet the energy readings suggested containment fields. "Permission to speak freely, Commander?" Lieutenant Jin Park's voice carried from the tactical station. When Sienna nodded, he continued, "The archival database shows no match for this vessel's design. It predates human space flight by centuries." Sienna's jaw tightened. She'd lost too many good people following protocols blindly. "Prepare a boarding team, full containment gear. I'll lead personally." The transition chamber hummed as Sienna and her team underwent decontamination. Dr. Harrison adjusted his environmental suit sensors while Security Chief Rodriguez checked their weapons, standard-issue plasma rifles, set to stun. The alien vessel's interior defied explanation. Corridors curved in impossible geometries, walls pulsing with faint bioluminescence. Their footsteps echoed strangely, as if the ship itself was listening. "Energy signatures getting stronger," Harrison muttered, his scanner beeping more frequently. 20 meters ahead." They found the chamber at the heart of the ship. Unlike the organic flow of the other sections, this room was stark, clinical. In its center, suspended in a column of shimmering energy, floated a figure. The alien was humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin held a pattern like shifting constellations, and where hair should be, tendrils of pure light swayed in an unseen current. Most striking were the bands of metallic material that wrapped around its limbs and throat, not restraints, but part of its body. "By the stars," Harrison breathed, "it's a celestial." Sienna's blood ran cold. Celestials were supposed to be myths, stories of godlike beings who seeded the galaxy with life. Yet here one was, imprisoned and forgotten. The alien's eyes snapped open, solid white orbs that seemed to pierce through Sienna's soul. A voice echoed in their minds, weak but clear. "The void comes, free me or all is lost." Sienna felt the weight of the moment press down on her shoulders. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. Whatever had the power to imprison a celestial was still out there, and humanity had just stumbled into something far bigger than themselves. "Begin containment field shutdown," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Dr. Harrison, prepare medical support. Whatever happens next, we're making history today." As the energy field began to fade, the celestial's form became more solid, more real. Sienna couldn't shake the feeling that this decision would change the course of human history forever. She just hoped it would be for the better. The celestial's feet touched the ground for the first time in centuries, its light dimming to a soft glow. She looked at Sienna with eyes now swirling with galaxies. "I am Nyx," she said, her voice carrying echoes of distant stars. "And you humans have just become part of a war that began before your species learned to walk upright." The stellar horizon's medical bay hummed with activity as Dr. Harrison monitored Nyx's vital signs. The celestial sat motionless on the examination table, her luminescent skin casting a soft glow across the sterile room. Commander Nash stood at the doorway, watching as her crew worked to understand their extraordinary guest. "Her biological structure is unlike anything we've ever encountered," Harrison explained, gesturing to the holographic display. "The metallic components aren't implants, they're growing from within, like a living alloy." Nyx turned her galaxy-filled eyes toward them. "They are markers of my purpose. We were created to be guardians, shepherds of life itself, but some among us saw themselves as gods." Lieutenant Park entered the medical bay, his expression grave. "Commander, long-range sensors are picking up something. Multiple signatures moving fast. They're not matching any known configurations." A shadow passed over Nix's ethereal features. "The Void Hunters, they sense that I am free." Sienna's hand instinctively moved to her sidearm. "What exactly are we dealing with?" "They were once like me, celestials who embraced darkness. They believe that life is a mistake to be corrected, that consciousness itself is a flaw in the universe's design. They imprisoned me because I stood against them." The ship's alert system blared to life. Chief Rodriguez's voice crackled over the intercom. "Multiple vessels dropping out of hyperspace. They're charging weapons." Sienna sprinted toward the bridge, Nix floating gracefully beside her. The tactical display showed 5 ships, their hulls black as space itself, arranged in an attack formation. "They're hailing us," Park announced, his fingers hovering over the communications panel. A figure materialized on their view screen, a celestial like Nix, but twisted. Where her light brought warmth, his radiated cold. Metal didn't just mark his form, it consumed it, leaving only fragments of star-filled skin visible. "I am Erebus," the figure spoke, his voice resonating with the hollow sound of dying stars. "Return our prisoner, and your species may be granted a merciful end when the great cleansing begins." Sienna stepped forward, her spine straight and her voice unwavering. "This is Commander Sienna Nash of the Earth exploration vessel Stellar Horizon. We don't respond well to threats, and we don't abandon those who seek asylum." Erebus's laugh sent chills through the bridge crew. "Your courage is admirable but misplaced. You cannot comprehend what you face." "Perhaps not," Sienna replied, "but humanity has a long history of surviving things we don't understand." The transmission cut off abruptly. Nix moved to the tactical display, her tendrils of light swirling with increased intensity. "They will not negotiate further. The Void Hunters see only in absolutes, destruction, or submission." "Then they're about to learn about a third option," Sienna said, turning to her crew. "Battle stations, Park, plot us a course through the Maelstrom Nebula. Rodriguez, divert all available power to shields and engines." The Void Hunters' ships opened fire, their weapons releasing beams of pure darkness that seemed to devour the light around them. The stellar horizon shuddered under the assault, but held. "The nebula's radiation will mask our signature," Nix observed, "but navigating it will be nearly impossible." Sienna allowed herself a small smile. "Impossible is what humanity does best. Park, execute evasive pattern delta. Let's show our guests what this ship can do." The stellar horizon dove into the swirling chaos of the Maelstrom Nebula, its hull groaning as Park guided them through corridors of superheated gas and magnetic storms. Behind them, 3 of the Void Hunters' ships followed, their dark forms like sharks in cosmic waters. "They're charging something big," Rodriguez warned, his console flashing red. "Energy readings are off the charts." Nix's voice carried an edge of desperation. "The Void collapse. They would destroy this entire sector to eliminate us." Sienna's mind raced through options. The nebula's radiation would tear them apart if they stayed too long, but the Void Hunters would obliterate them if they left cover. They needed a miracle, or at least a really good trick. "Dr. Harrison," she called over the comm, "remember that theoretical paper you wrote about using magnetic fields to trigger a plasma cascade?" "Commander, that was purely theoretical. We'd have to modify the ship's deflector array, and even then." "Can we do it?" A pause. "Yes, but we'd only get one shot." Sienna looked at Nix, who nodded slowly in understanding. Sometimes the best moves were the ones your enemies thought impossible. "Make it happen, Doctor. Everyone else prepare for my mark. We're about to remind these Void Hunters why you should never corner a human." Dr. Harrison's voice crackled through the ship's comm system as the stellar horizon weaved through the nebula's crimson clouds. "Deflector modifications complete, Commander. But the energy buildup could tear us apart before we even trigger the cascade." Sienna watched as the pursuing Void Hunters' ships carved paths of absolute darkness through the nebula's swirling gases. "Time to contact." 2 minutes until they're in range for the void collapse, Rodriguez reported, his hands steady on the weapon's console despite the growing tension. Nix moved closer to the view screen, her luminescent form dimming slightly. Your ship cannot withstand their weapon. Even a glancing hit would unravel your atomic structure. Then we don't get hit, Sienna replied, studying the tactical display. Park, bring us around that plasma eddy. Harrison, start the energy buildup. Everyone else brace for turbulence. The stellar horizon banked hard, its hull groaning under the strain. Behind them, the Void Hunters' ships adjusted their formation, their dark energy weapons leaving trails of nothingness in their wake. 60 seconds, Rodriguez called out. They're charging the collapse. Harrison's voice was strained. Deflector at 60% capacity. We need at least 85 for this to work. Sienna felt the weight of every second, of every life aboard her ship. Nix, you said these markers of yours channel energy. Can you interface with our systems? The Celestial's eyes widened in understanding. It would be dangerous. The feedback could destroy my physical form. More dangerous than the void collapse. A ghostly smile crossed Nix's features. You humans truly are remarkable. She placed her hands on the nearest console, and immediately the ship's lights pulsed brighter. The metallic patterns across her skin began to glow with increasing intensity. Deflector at 75%, Harrison reported. No, 89%. Void Hunters launching the collapse, Rodriguez shouted. Impact in 15 seconds. Sienna's voice cut through the chaos. Park, full stop. Harrison, trigger the cascade on my mark. The stellar horizon shuddered to a halt within the nebula's swirling gases. Behind them, a sphere of pure darkness expanded from the lead Void Hunter ship, consuming everything in its path. 10 seconds to impact. Nix's form was almost blindingly bright now, her voice strained. Whatever you're planning, do it now. Harrison, now. The modified deflector array pulsed, sending a wave of concentrated electromagnetic energy into the nebula's plasma-rich clouds. For a moment, nothing happened. Then physics took over. The cascade began slowly, then accelerated exponentially. Plasma ignited plasma in a chain reaction, creating a wave of stellar fire that rushed outward in all directions. The void collapse met this wall of energy, and the two forces clashed in a spectacular display of light versus darkness. Full power to rear shields, Sienna ordered as the shockwave approached. Everyone hold on. The impact threw crew members from their stations despite the inertial dampeners. Warning klaxons blared as systems overloaded. On the view screen, they watched as the Void Hunters' ships tumbled, their perfect formation shattered by the plasma cascade. Nix collapsed, her light dimming to barely a flicker. Park caught her before she hit the deck. Commander, she's barely conscious. Harrison, medical team to the bridge, Sienna turned to Rodriguez. Status of the Void Hunters. Their ships are damaged but functional. They're regrouping, but that cascade bought us some time. Sienna nodded grimly. Park, plot us a course to the nearest safe port. We need repairs and our guest needs help. As the medical team rushed Nix to sickbay, Harrison's voice came through once more. Commander, you need to see this. The energy feedback from Nix. It's changed something in our systems. We're detecting quantum signatures we've never seen before. Sienna looked at the retreating form of their celestial ally, remembering her words about guardians and shepherds of life. Send the data to my ready room. Something tells me we've just scratched the surface of what we're dealing with. The stellar horizon limped away from the Maelstrom Nebula, its hull scarred but intact. Behind them in the distance, the Void Hunters regrouped. This wasn't over, it was just the beginning of a much larger battle. But they had proven something important today. Humanity could stand against the darkness. They could fight back. And somewhere in the ship's computer core, new patterns were emerging, patterns that would change everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe. In the Stellar Horizons Science Lab, Dr. Harrison stared at the holographic display with growing amazement. The quantum signatures they detected weren't just random data, they were instructions, a blueprint left behind by ancient celestials. It's a defense network. Nyx explained, her strength slowly returning. Her luminescent form cast shifting patterns across the lab's walls. My people created it eons ago before the Void Hunters turned against us. We seeded it throughout the galaxy, hidden in the quantum fabric of space itself. Sienna studied the complex diagrams floating before them. And our ship's interaction with your energy somehow activated it. Your technology, combined with my essence, created a key we thought lost forever. Nyx's galaxy-filled eyes met Sienna's. This is why they imprisoned me. The Void Hunters knew I had hidden the final key, but they could never extract it from me. Lieutenant Park entered the lab, his expression urgent. Commander, long-range sensors are picking up multiple distortions. The Void Hunters weren't just following us, they're amassing a fleet. The holographic display shifted, showing dozens of dark ships emerging from hyperspace. Each vessel radiated the same consuming darkness they'd encountered before. They know what we've discovered, Nyx said softly. They will stop at nothing to prevent the network's activation. Dr. Harrison's fingers flew across the console. These quantum signatures, they're appearing everywhere now. Whatever we unlocked, it's spreading through subspace like a wave. Sienna felt the weight of the moment press down on her shoulders. Can we use it, this defense network? Yes, Nyx replied, but it requires a connection between your technology and my essence, a bridge between your world and mine. She paused, her light dimming slightly. But such a connection could destroy both the vessel and myself. Rodriguez's voice cut through the ship's calm. Commander, the Void Hunter fleet is moving into attack position. They're charging multiple Void collapse weapons. Sienna looked at her crew, then at Nyx. Everything had led to this moment. We're not just fighting for humanity anymore, are we? This is about all life in the galaxy. Nyx nodded solemnly. The Void Hunters believe consciousness itself is a mistake. If they succeed, they will extinguish every spark of awareness in existence. Dr. Harrison, begin modifications to the ship's quantum core. Park, send a warning to Earth. They need to prepare for what's coming. Rodriguez, get our weapons online. Sienna turned to Nyx. Together then. The Celestial's form brightened with determination. Together. Perhaps this is why your species was meant to find me. You possess something my people lost long ago, the will to fight against impossible odds. As the crew rushed to their stations, Sienna couldn't help but smile. Well, impossible odds are kind of our specialty. The Void Hunters' fleet loomed before them, a constellation of darkness against the stars. But within the stellar horizon systems, ancient defenses were awakening, and humanity was about to remind the galaxy why you should never underestimate those who refuse to surrender. The stellar horizon's bridge hummed with energy as Nyx merged her essence with the ship systems. Dr. Harrison monitored the quantum readings as they spiraled into previously impossible patterns. Lieutenant Park's hands danced across the navigation controls, keeping them just out of range of the approaching Void Hunter fleet. Quantum network integration at 60%, Harrison called out. The ship's hull is barely containing the energy. Through the viewscreen, they watched as Erebus's fleet moved into attack formation. Dark energy coursed between their ships, preparing for a massive, coordinated Void collapse. 70%, Harrison continued. Warning lights flashed across every console. Hull integrity failing in multiple sections. Nyx's voice echoed through the ship systems, now fully integrated with their technology. We need more power. The network requires a complete connection. Sienna made her decision. Rodriguez, divert all power from weapons. Park, cut life support to non-essential decks. Harrison, reroute everything through the quantum core. Commander, Rodriguez protested, without weapons. We're not going to win this with conventional weapons anyway. Sometimes you have to trust in something bigger than yourself. The Void Hunters launched their attack. Multiple Void collapse spheres merged into one massive wave of darkness that threatened to consume everything in its path. Quantum network at 90%, Harrison shouted over the groaning of the ship's hull. We need more. Nyx's voice carried a note of revelation. Your ship's power isn't enough, but your people's determination, their will to survive, I can feel it. Channel it through me. Sienna grabbed the ship-wide comm. All hands, this is your commander. Focus everything you have, your hope, your strength, your will to live, forward, together. The response was immediate. Throughout the ship, every crew member focused their thoughts, their determination, their very essence forward. Nyx's form blazed like a newborn star as she channeled their collective will. "Network at 100%, Harrison exclaimed. "It's activating." Space itself seemed to ripple. Points of light emerged from seemingly nowhere, connecting in a vast web that stretched as far as they could see. The void collapse wave hit this network of light and stopped, held back by forces beyond human understanding. Erebus's voice crackled through their comm. "What have you done?" "We've given the galaxy a choice," Nyx responded, her voice carrying the strength of both celestial power and human determination. "Life will always choose to survive, to grow, to become more than it was. You cannot stop that." The network of light pulsed, and waves of energy shot through the connected points. Where they touched the Void Hunters' ships, darkness was replaced with light. Ships began to power down, their crews freed from whatever force had corrupted them. Erebus's vessel alone remained dark, but now it was surrounded by a galaxy awakening to its own defense. "This isn't over," he snarled before his ship vanished into hyperspace. As the network's light faded to a subtle glow, Nyx separated from the ship's systems, her form solid once more. "He's right. This isn't over. The Void Hunters will return." Sienna looked at her crew, tired, proud, and forever changed by what they'd witnessed. "Then we'll be ready. Earth needs to know what's out there, both the darkness and the light." "My people once thought we had to guard the galaxy alone," Nyx said, smiling. "We were wrong. Perhaps it's time for a new alliance, Celestials and humans, working together to protect all life." "Together, then," Sienna agreed, extending her hand to the Celestial. Nyx took it, her starlit skin shimmering. "Together." The stellar horizon turned toward Earth, carrying with it a message of both warning and hope. The galaxy was larger and more dangerous than humanity had ever imagined, but they weren't alone anymore. And sometimes, in the face of darkness, that made all the difference. In the ship's quantum core, the ancient network hummed quietly, a reminder that in the endless night of space, there would always be light, as long as there were those willing to fight for it.